What has lockdown changed about you creatively? I don't know really. That's something I've just been working on. I don't know if it has really. For the most part, luckily I'm able to come into the studio, so I come in here every day. And let's have a look. And the process is pretty much the same. I mean, I think whatever you're experiencing ends up, I don't know what that reference is, or even this, but can't see his face. but it all comes out in what you're doing, and the process is kind of the same really. I might be working slightly slower. I don't know. There seems my normal imperative for maximum speed seems to have just changed and slowed down ever so slightly. I don't know. It certainly hasn't affected my lack of cleaning out. What is floating your creative boat at the moment? Here's a couple more pictures just while we're here. What is floating my creative boat at the moment? Well, let's see what's over here. David Milken. Forget that. I love that. It's just such a brilliant book. You can see that. Emil Mulder. He floats my creative boat. He does. Don't know. Nice. Sydney Nolan. Let's think. I've forgotten the name. This is an odd one actually. Saw this at a gallery in New York on tour on the PJ Harvey. I don't know what I'm trying to show you in here. Oh no, look at that. On the PJ Harvey tour, and I was going to galleries all the time, and went to the Folk Art Museum, and they had an exhibition by this guy who was a biologist who got sadly locked up, or maybe necessarily locked up in a psychiatric ward, but luckily they kept all his paintings, and they're just from an amazing sort of crazed dash into the imagination, and that's really inspiring. Kiki Smith missed her exhibition in Oxford just before lockdown happened. That was a bloody shame. I should have gone to that. Here's someone holding a pen with a load of books. I don't know if I've really answered that. Anyway, there's an idea of it. What person, thing, song, artwork has had a lasting impact on you creatively or on your creativity? I'm not really sure if there ever is a single thing. It's more like a hopefully accessible library of just stuff that comes back to you when you're completely lost in painting or doing something. I think being able to play music, having played music in my own band, Gallon Drunk, and then playing with other bands like Faust and the Bad Seeds, and more recently with PJ Harvey, I think it helps you just access that odd place where, of the imagination, it's sort of a bit of a shortcut sometimes. You know, music can just get to it really, really quickly and easily. And you know, all the best parts of the gig would probably just be certainly the Get 'em Drunk gigs, a load of sort of free noise feedback at the end was always the most thrilling part, because you just stop thinking and you just be doing it. It's just a very, very exciting thing. I think as far as exhibitions go, I went to see an exhibition, German Art in the 20th Century, when I was a teenager. That was amazing. Also went to see an exhibition at the British Museum as a child. Went to see the Tutankhamun exhibition, and that was just amazing for look at him, for seeing how transportative an object can be, fantastical. Even a sort of a fairly mundane practical object can just almost take you into sort of a time travel, and it opens up a little world to go into. And I don't know what sort of world that is, or even if I want to go into it, that could be me. But then again, so could that, and possibly so could that. I hope not. Yeah, I don't know. If the question was single object influence, yes, I don't think there is a single one. It's just a big old mush of absolutely everything. Yes. Does being known as a musician make it harder to be accepted as a visual artist? There's Kennington. There's a fantastic pub just around the corner in Cleaver Square. This is an old courthouse, and it's been allowed to stay open because this room has its own access still, which has been an amazing sort of lifeline for me during the lockdown in April. Can anyone even remember what month it is? Has that been a hindrance, the fact that I was a musician? I don't know really. I thought it might, but I've been amazed how supportive people have been with trying to get group exhibitions, or I don't know, maybe it's just the way in which I did it. I'm not sure really, but it's been the opposite actually. It's been great that people have been so open to someone trying something different halfway through what? Halfway through their life. This is quite telling. A Marlena Dumas postcard stuck to this. This is where I paint every day. Even really massive, but larger canvases I just prop up here. So no, it hasn't been a hindrance, and I'm very, very grateful for people who've been supportive of the whole endeavour. What's your starting point for making work, and does it vary? I think was the question. I've literally only read it about 10 seconds ago and I've forgotten. Well, it doesn't really vary actually. I tend to come in, and so let's say I was going to paint over this carcass munching bird, which I won't. I try to sort of come in here with a totally clear head rather than overthink stuff or plan stuff too much. I think I'd just get the sort of blank page syndrome and forever think my ideas were utter shit and get no further than just thinking how utter shit all my ideas were. So I come in and I'd look at that and just fairly randomly just start with something to hand, which it's a bit difficult when you can't really see what you have, and just start and then react to that and turn the picture around and hope that something will be suggested and then respond to that, and eventually an image will come out and start coming out. If I'm totally impatient, I won't wait for it to dry and blast it with that, or rub it with a bit of that. And gradually something happens. And I think after the event you tend to realise why you did it, that it's referenced something you've heard on the news or something you've just read or a picture you saw. And that is basically how I do it every time. This is something that was a big influence, actually. You see that? Victor Hugo's, which surprisingly fits with the answer, because he would start with sort of rough ink blots and work them into these images that you can't see because my arm's in the way. But they're incredible. Look them up on the internet. They're just absolutely beautiful. Really simple and odd, and yeah, an exercise in the imagination. Quite gothy, some of it. So yes, that's basically the process, and then just come in the next day and do the same thing. It's the only way I find that I keep a real momentum with what I'm doing. What is the most important part of your creative process? Oh Christ, I don't know. I think trying not to think about it once I go home, otherwise you just start going crazy. So I used to take photos of everything whilst doing them. And so sometimes I try ideas out on my phone, actually. I certainly can't do it whilst filming this. Just, would it look better with such and such on, and just try it digitally. It can be really misleading, but it can be a godsend. But then if you look at those pictures when you get home and start thinking, and it doesn't really look like the painting, you start worrying about the painting rather than just letting it go and then coming back in again fresh. That is something I have learnt through doing it wrong continually. Anyway, but I'd say the most other important thing is coming in and being able to close the door. And the windows. No, I do open them. It's if you want to disappear off into a strange little world for a few hours, I find it imperative to, in fact, and this door, and lock it, to be able to lock the door. What does painting, look at them, what does painting do for you? What does painting do for you, or what does painting do to you? I think it should be more the question. What does painting do for you? Oh look, my leg too much. Christ, I don't know. It can, at its best, it can be a bit like, yeah, it can be a bit like going to the cinema or something for several hours, just as you spend time endlessly reworking an image like this, and you know, why am I doing it? But and trying not to think why you're doing it, and it enables me to completely empty my mind and go somewhere sort of into a quite exciting interior little place for the little lights for a few hours. I don't know what it does for me. I don't know, it makes me feel really happy, actually. Who would you like to collaborate with artistically? Well, I'm very used to collaborating with people with music, but so far with painting, it's not really something I've tried or been able to do. I'm in the process of starting, or at least thinking about a piece I'm doing with a sculptor friend, PJ Johnson, and he brought this lovely piece of wood over, and I sent off some charcoal. It hasn't turned up. Anyway, I was going to draw on it, and then he was going to work on it, and then I'll paint it, and that's exciting. I think that I don't know, it's something I'd love to do. And where do you start? I think you just start, as happens with a piece of music I did recently. Rather than have a sort of wish list, you just get asked, hopefully, or you don't, and then you just start there, and you know, take it as it comes, and not really sort of have too many sort of creative fantasies. You know, like I'd like to do a painting with Jimi Hendrix. Well, I mean, who wouldn't? But it's not going to happen, is it? I don't know. Who do you like to do a collaboration with? What creative plans do you have made for the new world? That's a very optimistic question. This new world, hopefully a better one. Once we've recognised that London absolutely stinks full of traffic. Well, London, I say London simply because I'm in London. What creative plans do I have? I have to say, I don't really have any. I've got a couple of things lined up to do that will be great. An exhibition in Berlin, one in Oslo, and one in The Hague. And a couple of other things, but you know, right now you don't know if any of them are even going to happen. But the creative plans, I think, as just as ever, really, is just to come in here and get on with it. Practical plans, I should at least tidy this up and maybe get some new brushes. first thing I should definitely do is change the water. Change the water in there before every single thing I do goes purple. That was the result of working on this one. I mean, that is the last painting I did, which was yesterday. So yes, my creative plans, as ever, are simply just to carry on. And here is a guy playing a saxophone. Yeah, so that was a little look around the studio, and I hope that before too long I'll be able to go back down to Deal and have some more work up in the wonderful Don't Walk gallery. And yes, thank you very much, Neil, for asking me these questions. Wasn't quite sure how to answer them, so I thought it might be best to see. Oh, you could see what's just to have a look around. You know, you could actually see what's outside here. I can't even open the door. Trapped in for it forever and ever and ever. Christ, that's better. Yes, so thank you very much for watching or listening to all this.